Oh, all right. Yeah, and we're back. For some reason, I forgot how Zoom worked for like 2 seconds there. Uh, so, all right. So the NFL draft, man, it's less than a week away. Oh my gosh!
Exciting.
Of course, it's exciting. It's one of my favorite, favorite days of the year. It's always has such memories of it. I never end up watching it like live from start to finish. Like I'm always somewhat busy or doing something else, but like it's always just implanted in my memory in a way. And
Yeah.
it's just one of those events, man. As a football fan, just gotta love. But I guess so we've been talking. We talked about that trade with the Orlando Brown trade, leading us to where Ravens now have like 2 first-round picks. Of course, that brass was going to figure out a way to get multiple first-round picks. We've talked about the quarterbacks in this. Talked about the quarterbacks here on this show, but I guess Franklin, I want you to give me, I guess, quarterback or non-quarterback. What one hot take you have, or one take that you would that you have about some of the prospects? Like
one hot take, huh?
Yeah.
One hot take. Well, okay. I hope I wasn't like, listening too much to the pundits, this week of listening to sports news as I always do, but I was listening to one of them and I kind of agreed with his take about Zach Wilson and just like his viability in the NFL. We all know Zach Wilson's a very talented talented quarterback, no doubt, for sure. Like that's why he's graded this well. He is a great prospect. His tape is pretty good. But then again, the red flags are he played against pretty bad opponents, no Power 5 this entire 2020 season. In opponents he played that, had a winning record, I think he was I think close to 0-5 or 1-4 in those games. Quarterback passing rating was just, terrible. And so it just becomes like a concern. Like the AFC East is not very easy as a division. As you know very well, Patriots fan, you got your own Patriots, you got the Miami Dolphins with an excellent defense, and you got the Buffalo Bills who went 13-3 last season. So there's no gimmies in that division, and the AFC as a whole is very hard. So for Zach Wilson to come in to the New York Jets organization, which has been, a little bit of a barnhouse fire, I'd say, to put it nicely, the last few seasons, with a rookie head coach. And he's expected to be the guy who starts day one, presumably, because that's what the Jets are going to do. So I just think it's going to be pretty tough for him to, I think like his expectations are actually being put really high because he is the number 2 overall draft pick. He is going into New York market. He is like hyped as like a big arm, big talent, wow kind of guy. It's going to be hard to live up to those expectations. That's my hot take. I think that he will not live up to that expectation that people all hype him up to be. So,
I think I agree. On a snap judgment basis, I kind of agree. It just seems rather odd. He doesn't have too much experience playing. Yes, he has. There's been some comparisons to like Rodgers type, Mahomesian type, like out of structure plays that he makes. But with that being said, I'm just not too sure because I've also seen that he is relatively short, which I mean, sure, there's Russell Wilson, there's Drew Brees, and I guess there's Baker Mayfield, but that isn't someone who, if you have like how talented this draft class is, it feels like this guy's draft stock is kind of skyrocketing for reasons that I guess we're just a pro Justin Fields show here, like why Justin Fields isn't being considered in the same spot. is more of it. But I think Zach Wilson will do fine. I think he'll do good. I just don't know if his ceiling is going to be as high as people will think it is.
I just think like Jets fans and the New York media market, they just have very lofty expectations for someone that especially the Jets that have been down for so long. They need that like kind of like revitalization, and they're hoping it's going to be the godsend. But as good as he can play, I don't think one guy is going to be the godsend and like completely overnight transform you into a contender like for the Super Bowl or something like that. Like that, it takes a lot more than that. So,
and I mean, your guy from USC was supposed to be that, Sam Darnold.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And I've also heard that as far as the draft, the prospect itself, like the whole scouting report and everything, if Sam Darnold's like just USC career and scouting metrics and all of that, we're in this draft, he'd be drafted ahead of Zach Wilson. He'd be a better prospect than Zach Wilson. Of course, there's also experience with like seeing how Sam Darnold's been pretty bad in the NFL. So that's there's always something tantalizing about Zach Wilson could actually do something great. And I mean, of course, it doesn't really mean anything if, these prospects could also just be buried in like the, 6th round, and just turn out to be, Hall of Famers and best quarterbacks of all time out in the 3rd round and 4th, late rounds.
Yeah.
All right. I guess here's my hot take. I do not think Jamar Chase is going to be that good. Wow. I am worried about Jamar Chase. So he is a small-ish guy. He's not like super duper tall. Let me get the stats specific. He's 6'1". I thought he was 6'2". He's 6'1". And he plays like he's a big X receiver, and he doesn't necessarily separate like from what I remember, like in LSU, right? It was Joe Burrow. It was able to just throw it up, and Jamar Chase was able to just come down with it or make these breakaway with his speed, just break away with his routes at the end. But yeah. I just think from an NFL level, we've seen receivers that if they're small and they play big, they aren't the best route runners. It's kind of I mean, N'Keal Harry, like let's just say that. Sore spot. Of course, Jamar Chase is like hyped up way more and much more athletic and all that. I don't think he's going to be the best. I don't think he's going to be best receiver in his class. Okay. I just think it's Devontae Smith. Like, full stop. Let's just stop. It's Devontae Smith, or it might even be Waddle. I just think I like the Alabama guys more than Jamar Chase.
Okay, I mean, okay, that lowers the heat a little bit. I think, like if you're saying like Devontae Smith will be a better prospect, but I was curious if you said like he won't be that good. Is he going to?
I don't know if he'll be a bust or not. I just think when we look back, we're gonna think, wow, why didn't let's say Dolphins select why didn't the Dolphins select what's his face Devontae Smith instead, or Jalen Waddle instead, or like some of these other maybe some other wide receiver. I just don't know if Jamar Chase should be heralded as this for sure guy.
Sure. Okay, that's fair. He's being like labeled as a can't miss kind of guy, so I guess it's a hot take. So
yeah, and also with this, I mean, I could be wrong because I mean he came from LSU. He was the better receiver during that Joe Burrow run, and look at Justin Jefferson now is the other guy. Like imagine how good this. I could be but I just think if you're small and you play big and you're not really a good route runner, I mean, people can develop route running skills for sure. Like you can teach route running. It's one of the things you can teach. I just think it's kind of weird to me that Jamar Chase is being this highly touted over Devontae Smith, I guess. Like it's like a for sure clear cut thing. And I guess I wanted to throw it out as a hot take to maybe just say my real honest opinion.
Yeah.
That Devontae Smith is better than Ja'Marr Chase.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could almost, get on that wagon too. I think you can't. He's a Heisman winner for crying out loud. I mean, like he had probably one of the best seasons by a wide receiver you've ever seen. So you can't really like discount that for sure. I think Devontae Smith, their only knock for any NFL scout is just his size. And, I think, that could be something that you would say could be a problem. But if an NFL team knows how to utilize him properly and put him in different positions and have him like run different kind of plays, like jet sweep, screen, put him inside, outside, he can do so many things. And he's such a smart player. I think like, you can utilize him in a way that he doesn't put himself in that many like injury situations, I would say maybe. So, yeah.
Here's the thing though. So Devontae Smith has not gotten injured. Meanwhile, teammate Jalen Waddle has. I might be high on him because I'm a Patriots fan and I would like to get him if we don't get what's his face of Justin Fields. Of course, that's who I want. Or Trey Lance. I would also like Trey Lance. I also think there's something like I like Trey Lance more. It's just a hunch. I just like Trey Lance more than I guess the pundits do. Where was I going with this? Oh, but Devontae Smith. So he is tough. He has shown the grit in college. He has shown that he can do this. He has shown excellent route running. I mean, excellent.
Yeah.
Unbelievable separate. This is why I'm so low on Mac Jones. It was everything looked like a cakewalk, like with how just wide open Devontae Smith would find himself sometimes. Like excellent separation. I think the size is a concern, but when you have Aqib Talib, you have these cornerbacks and not just him, but others that have come out and said, like, this guy, he's tough. I can see how it's hard. The way he's such a good route runner, it's hard to get to press on him as, he's got the skills. He's got the traits. I mean, he was one of the most prolific college receivers of all time. Like, just that's all I got to say. He's played against, some of the SEC cornerbacks have become pros. I think J.C. Horn's in this draft. Exactly. So of course, now you can flip this argument and say, well, Laya wasn't Ja'Marr Chase. He's an SEC receiver. He's played against, JC, all these guys too. Like, but Devontae Smith was just so dominant. It's crazy. I mean, he won the Heisman, like you just said.
Exactly. He's a Heisman
I just
winner.
think, yes, if the size is like the only concern you have, like, I don't think it should be too much of a concern because he hasn't gotten injured like at all with the amount of like stuff that he's that he's been able to face. That's got to show something. He doesn't have any soft tissue problems or like that. And if former cornerbacks are coming out telling you that it's going to be hard to guard him and he has all this grit that they can like see it, and I believe it. I guess that I'm just super high on Devontae Smith. I don't think he'll drop. I'd rather have Devontae Smith than Jalen Waddle, but I just don't think he'll drop that far. So that's why I'm saying I think Jalen Waddle's win.
That's fair.
All right, and I guess if we want to talk about the draft some more, man. What is like we can talk about quarterbacks too in this as well, but what would you be most excited to see? Like what mock draft pairing that we've been seeing, kind of, I mean, because let's be frank with you guys here. We're no draft experts. We're no scouts. We're just two college kids who like sports. But what is like a great pairing that you're kind of excited for, like team player wise?
Team player wise. Well, I think I'll focus on a player first. I would say Kyle Pitts would be like a pick. I'd say he's just like I've heard people say that Kyle Pitts, in terms of just like best talent wise, he's graded the highest in this draft. Like you could say Trevor Lawrence is the highest grade overall because he's just a prodigy, but Kyle Pitts, in terms of just like how well he's done, like what he's done in college and his tape wise, his profile is just unbelievable. It just skyrocketed. Honestly, he can work with like almost any team because he's so good. What team would I like to pair him with? Well, I mean, I don't think, let's be realistic. Like if you wanted to go to like say the Falcons, I think if between the Falcons, Bengals, and the Dolphins, if I had those three as a choice, okay, I would like to see him on the Bengals because Joe Burrow's there, but I think the Bengals realistically should probably invest in offensive linemen. But if he's on the Bengals with Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and that offense, Joe Mixon in the backfield, I like to see that. That'd be awesome. I think
that's a fantasy football offense right there, man.
Yeah, no, it's a fantasy football dream right there. I think just looking at it, just like Joe Burrow throwing that deep ball to Kyle Pitts and just getting touchdowns and all that. It'd just be a dream come true. I just think like both of them would thrive. And honestly, Cincinnati could invest in the offensive lineman second round, still be somewhat okay with like their situation. Kyle Pitts is a difference maker. He'll be like I don't think he's a miss like at all in this case. I haven't heard a single like doubt about what his talent and his ability on the field is going to be. So I'm definitely thinking like if you can get him, get him. So yeah, basically.
Oh yeah. I'd actually argue, well, I can see it from, if you want a long-term perspective, pairing Joe Burrow with Kyle Pitts would be nice as far as quarterback, quarterback, I guess receiver. I mean, Kyle Pitts can do everything.
Exactly.
We'll just call him a receiver in the tight end's body. Anyway, that would be a nice pairing, but he would fit. I think he would be utilized so much in Atlanta in Arthur Smith's like scheme. The way they use tight ends a lot in that scheme, and if sure, Matt Ryan's not going to be there for a while, but that would be quite nice as far as like for Kyle Pitts is concerned. But of course, I just think Kyle Pitts anywhere. I mean, it would be what are some teams that I'm trying to think of some teams that would just be like blah. I can't really think of any teams that would be blah without, man. I mean, even the bad teams.
It's just like, I'd say the only thing would just be like, how much do you trust Tua at this point in Miami? And how much do you like Miami's offense overall? Would Kyle Pitts because Kyle Pitts, as great as he is, you need like a quarterback to throw the ball to as pass catcher. So is your quarterback someone that you can trust, someone that you think is dynamic enough? So what's your opinion on Tua this second year, the second go around? Is he going to deliver, or is Miami going to be looking for a quarterback sometime soon?
I don't know, man. Tua is one of the great enigmas this year, heading into the season, I think. There's part of me wants to say yes, because he's coming off of like this injury, man. These injuries, he's got to take time to rest and recuperate. Maybe he hasn't fully healed, and I kind of believe that, to be honest. I'm leaning more on the side that Tua has more positives and negatives, but I mean, there's definitely doubts. I mean, the fact that they've had to pull him out to put in Fitzpatrick's kind of, I mean, as Fitz magic is, it's still oof. That's still kind of rough to have to get pulled out, and then immediately Fitzpatrick gets put in. There's like this Fitz magic Hail Mary against the Vikings, but not Vikings, the Raiders.
Raiders.
Oh my God. Yeah, I got them, but
that was insane.
But like that kind of sucks. But we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna real quickly talk about his injury and stuff like that. But hip injuries, I know they're very serious. That's one, in his college career. From another sport, I know that like hip injuries they take a really long time to recover from, and like the journey to come back to full strength takes a while. If any of you follow tennis, I follow tennis a little bit, so Andy Murray, he was world number one. He used to be part of the so-called Big Four. He suffered a really bad hip injury, torn labrum. He hasn't been the same since, and that's been years. It's been 3 years, I think. So hip injuries take a really long time to really like ramp back up. And I heard the Dolphins simplified its playbook a lot for Tua last year, so like they were trying to preserve him in some ways. This year, they probably should just see how he does, let it loose, and see how he does with a more expanded playbook, and hopefully we'll see something from him. But it tends to take a while to come back from hip injury.
But see, like going to your point, like talking about Andy Murray's, I think that was a good point. He hasn't fully recovered yet. He hasn't been as dominant again, right? So even if, let's say, if Tua recovers a bit, he could still not be able to get to his full potential if it's a serious injury,
Right.
So that's a good point you make. That's also a negative. So man, it's such an enigma, man. You just gotta see. It's rough.
Yeah, exactly.
At least for me, non-Patriots wise, I just want the Chargers to draft an offensive lineman. I mean, there's so many. They're so talented. There's class. There's a lot of great offensive linemen. There's Darashaw is what's, according to, I got to cite my sources. No plagiarism here. According, the Ringer draft guide from, the mock drafts from Danny Kelly. I trust these guys. I like the Ringer. They just do some good stuff over there. But good. So they have right now mock Christian Darashaw, who is, tough as nails, like Mauler. But no matter what, as long as they get a good offensive lineman that falls to them, also, I guess full disclosure, I had Herbert on my fantasy team last year. You picked him up when Prescott got injured, but just seeing this man, so that gave me incentive to just watch Justin Herbert play. And he has so much potential. It is unbelievable that they just need to repair it. There's a lot of other things too, but if they repair that offensive line and they get that offense going, coupled with how I think Brandon Staley's going to just he's a defensive innovator in a way. So just to give context to Brandon Staley, former Rams defensive coordinator, comes from Vic Fangio tree of just too high safeties, the way the complex packages they've done and how they've kind of become a new innovators in defense in a way. If you've seen the Rams past few years, I am just excited to see what's going to look like with Joey Bosa kind of taking the Darnold role, having Derwin James in that. If that defense can just get to that level and you give Justin Herbert some protection, I might be drinking a Kool-Aid here, but that could be a huge just step up for this Chargers franchise. And I'm just getting goosebumps right now thinking about just seeing having Herbert v Mahomes rivalries, like the Chargers Chiefs rivalries, just be something. I can see that happening, man. That's a lot to put on. That's a lot to put on a first round pick, I guess. But yeah,
I mean, first round pick, you're expected to have them deliver. That's the whole point of them. But no, I agree. I think Herbert, first of all, last season, had the season that probably first of all, it was statistically probably the best rookie seen by a quarterback.
Yeah, he broke records. He broke touchdown record. Yeah,
exactly. So that's a really high bar. It's if Trevor Lawrence came anything close to that, he'd be having a great season. So basically, he just he had a phenomenal first season. And I do remember, I think it was the Chargers, and then the Falcons. Obviously, they were the two teams that were always in games, but they kind of blew leads at the end and then kind of like just lost the games. They were always there on the edge. So they always lost these close games. So that means that they're good, better teams than the record suggested, and that they had a few things they needed to fix. So yeah, big thing was their offensive line. So if they fix their offensive line this year and, shore up their defense with the coach, Brandon Staley, coming in, they could be primed for a good leap in terms of record wise, and then, how things go performance wise on the field. So I agree with your points. Totally.
Yeah. I guess that's my thought process behind it. And it's more of the idea behind getting that offensive line fix, and they've done with the way they've signed Corey Linsley. They've clearly trying to get this offensive line back, and I think you get, no offense to offense to Anthony Lynn. You get him out of there. I mean, think about how many games they win by just removing him and placing with like a replacement coach. It's so, man.
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like, real quick, all due respect to Anthony Lynn, but I just think his time management in the games, it was just painful to watch. I mean, just to think about, like, how misused his like last minute like game management has been. So I think Brandon Staley definitely is going to be a lot more precise and focus on those finer details.
But so. I mean, I'm telling with this class of Rashawn Slater, with Penei Sewell, with Christian Darrisaw, there's much more. There's the guy from USC. There's so many offensive linemen. I just think if they hit on one that works, and I like Darrisaw. Darrisaw, so aggressive, just unbelievable. Like, just how he's just great in ACC play. And we're in the ACC. I don't know why I'm just like, again, Duke. My freshman year, pondered a lot. Watched a lot of Duke football. This year, not so much because it was oof. But yeah, I like the pick too. I like him himself as well. So yeah, but all right.